Hi, I'm Jeff from Ottawa Design and Build, and I'm here to give you a little tutorial on how to install laminate flooring. We're talking about a medium density fiber or high density fiber laminate. Traditionally, this came out, it looked like a picture of 3 different pieces of wood. It's developed a lot over the years, and now we've got something that looks like wide plank board flooring. Now this is a Torleys flooring product. It's a fabulous quality. The joints in this click lock together and are really tight. You won't see gapping over time. There's a lot of products on the market, a lot of different price ranges, anywhere from $1 a square foot up to $5 or $6. So you get what you pay for. So if you have a 10-year project and you're just looking to make something clean so you can sell your house, by all means, go to the cheaper end. But if you're doing a new build like we are, we're expecting this floor to last a long time. This is gonna be a 30 to 40 year floor. We're also installing a bar on top of it, so we can't cut any corners with the quality. So since we're not cutting corners with the quality, we're also using a high quality underpad. This is a very thick piece of rubber. It also has a vapor barrier on it. There's always a vapor barrier on underlay flooring. This product here is good for basement floors and residential use. If you're doing laminate flooring and you're in a situation where you're in a condo or an apartment, you have to get a different flooring that kills the sound. There's a sound transmission rating on that underpad. It's a little more expensive, but generally speaking, if you go to a wholesaler, you can get this kind of product for under 20 cents a square foot. It's not a big expense, so by all means, get the good one. If you go to the building store, you're probably gonna pay 3 to 4 times as much, but don't ever cheap out. Okay, so the bottom of the pad is the gold side, has an adhesive strip so that when you do the next joint, you can tape the pad onto this little bit of leftover foil. So always install the pad in the right direction so that you can add the next layer. Basically, we just roll it out and cut it to fill the space. Now, this room's a little dusty, so we're gonna get some footprints. How awesome is that? All right. So the way I do it is I just push it to the wall, find my mark, roll it back to me. Cut both directions. And get that out of my way. I'll just fire it underneath the drywall for now, so it holds it. All right, and we're good to go. So the basic tools that we need for this project are pretty simple. You should have it: a tape measure, pencil, a hammer. And this is what most people don't have: the cutting tool. Dun, dun, dun. This is the next generation in laminate floor cutters. It's also good for commercial vinyl tile. This thing here has an extension on the arm, multiplies your leverage. So it operates like a guillotine principle. It's just crushing in the gap, and it snaps the board right on the cut line. The cool thing about this is that one person can operate this without having to get up or down, and it creates no dust. This kind of flooring, if you've ever worked with it before and you're using your saw, it's crazy amount of dust. So one of the biggest drawbacks was you always had to cut outside, or you had to wear a mask, or you just got sick and got a sinus infection, and we all learned the hard way. But this tool here is worth its weight in gold. I think it cost me about $400. It's been through the mill a few times here. Still works, haven't had to sharpen it yet. I have nothing bad to say about it. I'll give you a demonstration because I'm gonna need a little piece to start with here. There we go. So when I'm starting my floor, I wanna cut just a first piece, about 5 or 6 inches off. Done. And I'm gonna use this as my nailing block, okay? Because you're gonna find that installing this flooring is not an easy task. We are gonna go from left to right. If you're doing this alone, I'm gonna recommend that you start the first and second row with a half offset. So cut your board in advance. No need to measure. Okay. There we go. And just like any other kind of flooring, you want to pay attention to your H'ing, which is where your joints are meeting up. Now traditionally this locks in nice and simple, right? You just line it up and give it a wiggle. Clicks in place. You heard the click? That's the sound of a good installation. You can see we've got this installed so that it slides underneath the baseboard. we don't want to start against the wall right away. I want to start out here. I'm going to show you why. If you're working alone, or even if you have somebody with you, this can be real tricky. You'll see a lot of guys do this. They'll put that side down there. This also clicks together. All right, and they'll drop it in. And then they go to the next piece. And they're in a bit of a conundrum, because this type of flooring is not a lay lock system. I can't just drop that in place. You'll see that there's a tongue here. So the way that this works is that this piece actually has to be backed off a little bit. You've got to force it down, and then you got to drive it into the gap from the other side. When you're starting off by yourself, trying to keep things square, having this board here is in your way. So don't do that. Keep that out of your way. And you want to work back and forth on your first and second row. We're going to cross your room. Important to note, traditionally, you'll find that people like the look of the flooring better. There's that click again. If you're running the grain along the longest wall in the room. Now, that piece that I cut off at the very beginning, I'm going to lock that in. Now I take my hammer. Boom. Perfect. That is a really nice tight fit. Never going to have a problem. Now I take this board. The benefit of this tongue and groove action is that it actually locks from both different directions. Okay? So you get it nice and tight. Put your weight on it. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. All right, so now we've gotten to the end of this wall. I want to take my knife out and trim this under pad back a little bit. And this is just to keep the noise down, okay? So it doesn't matter if it goes all the way to the wall or not. It's okay to be shy. And this here is what we do. This is facing the same direction. When you want to measure your cut, you want to do this by eye. All right, so we're at the end. We want to get our piece. Make sure the tongue and groove is all facing the same way. Then take it and turn it around. So now you're going to be measuring the actual gap with the same piece of wood that's going to be cut and installed there. And since nothing in this world is square, you want to take the shortest or where the contact is with the wall and mark the floor to be cut within 1/4 inch of that. Now, because we're using 3/4 inch baseboard, we have a lot of mercy. I mean, I can have this floor come almost 1 inch from the wall and it's still going to get covered by the time I'm done with all my trim. But for good measure, I like to leave about 1/4 inch there for expansion, contraction. Take it over to the cutter, put your mark right where the blade comes down. Crush it. And now, instead of trying to hammer it in like this, you can just drop that in. This piece, however, is going to be a little trickier because you have no room to get the hammer from the end. So you have to hammer this direction this time. Now, every time you cut a piece, start the next row with the offcut. Save your product, save your time. Here's our piece. Flip it around, make contact with the wall, come back here, measure, cut. And be careful all the time not to chip the corners. If you chip the corners, that piece is no good to you. Nobody wants an ugly piece of floor in the middle of the room. Now, like I was trying to show here, I can't just drop that in. I don't have the room for a hammer. What I can do is the same concept from this side. I can drop that to there. Okay. Oh, here, good note. When you're working with this flooring, keep an eye on the corners, on the back side. If you have debris and it gets caught in these gaps and you force it in, you're going to be breaking everything apart. Your floor will open up on you. So put this down, lay it in place. Now we take our hammering block, put your weight on this other piece of wood, Wood, it's laminate. See that that's not going in very nice up against the wall now. After you have about 4 or 5 rows done, take a minute and pull this forward out from underneath the baseboard, and then move your flooring from the other side of the room where you have it stored, pile it all up on the floor. That'll put enough weight on it that when you're hammering those end pieces in, it won't be sliding around anymore, and it maintains that gap that you want underneath your floor and around your perimeter. Try to keep a 1/2 inch gap everywhere you go, and your floor will last forever. Now really, all you need to know now is it's gonna take about an hour to finish this room. Not bad. No dust, no mess, hardly any garbage, and it's gonna be brand new and beautiful. So if you've enjoyed this video, feel free to contact us, write a comment down below if you have any questions, hit the like button. We'd like to know if you like it, and by all means, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up, and a lot of great material that we've built in our library, so have a look at that too. Thanks for watching.